Hello, and welcome to Archive Dive. I'm Maria Lockwood, a reporter with the Superior Telegram. Each month, we dip into files on historic events, people, and places in Superior and Douglas County with local historians. Today, we're going to peel back the history of an Ogden Avenue building with a colorful secret. When Jeff Dorfman started developing the Bergstrom Electric building into a new outdoor store, he found hidden treasure, a series of landscape paintings on the walls. Who painted them and why? He asked local historian Teddy Meronek to research the building, built in 1890. She's here today to share what she found. Hi, Teddy.
Hi, Maria.
Thanks for stopping by.
Oh, I'm always glad to be here.
So tell me how you got involved in this building research.
I just turned up. I think it was Joanne Jardine who got in contact with me and said that they'd found these murals in the building and would I want to come over and look at them. And I didn't know anything about it. I mean, I remember thinking that the building, it's at 1314 Ogden, driving by it many times and thinking, oh, it was a lovely building. You know, it had, the outside was very nice. And it was Bergstrom Electric. And I'm thinking, well, what could have been an electrical company? What would they have in their building? But when I got there, I was just blown away.
Really?
I mean, you go up to, I think they call it the mezzanine level.
Mm-hmm.
And I walked up there and there are these paintings on the wall, murals. I thought, why didn't anybody tell me?
And when we say on the wall, we mean
on the wall.
They were painted onto the surface of the wall, right?
Right. And of course, the first thing I go for is, did the author or the artist sign them? And he did.
He did. Oh.
And he was kind enough to put on the date, which gives you a starting point anyway.
When were they painted?
1933. Yeah.
And the artist was?
Herbert Bartlett.
And he was from around here?
No. He was from Barron, Wisconsin. So, it's a couple-hour drive from south of Superior. But had never heard of him, did not know that those murals existed. And apparently Jeff Dorfman didn't know they did either until they really started cleaning out that room.
Okay.
I think...
Were they behind paneling?
No, because they had a lot of...
Stuff in there.
Okay. Yeah. And maybe Jeff knew about them, but hadn't seen them.
Mm-hmm.
And he was pretty blown away too.
What are they paintings of?
Well, we don't really know. There's only one that you can actually pinpoint that it's in northern Wisconsin. The rest, I think, well, it was either Herb's imagination or maybe someplace he had been or I don't know what, but...
And they're all landscapes?
They're all landscapes. And the one that can be identified is because Mr. Nickel, Joseph Nickel, eventually turned this building into... He had a funeral home there.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't built for that, but he bought it in... What year did he buy it? Was it 13? And he moved in 1914. And he had worked for the Lesage funeral home. And then he went out on his own and he bought this building. And there is absolutely nothing about this mural in the newspaper that I can find. I'm waiting for the telegram to be digitized because I have gone through page after page after page trying to find out about Herb Bartlett because he was only in town for a few years. Maybe 1930 to 1935, maybe. So I've been going through those newspapers hoping to find something about these murals, but I haven't. The only thing I found was that there was a funeral directors convention of funeral directors from northern Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Michigan held in Superior in 1933.
Okay.
It was in August of 1933, and the murals are dated 33. So my guess is that Mr. Nickel, who owned the building, maybe wanted to spruce it up a little bit. And so he hired Herb to paint these murals because Herb, occasionally you'll find something about Herb in the paper. He did something for the Gennard's family. Before they owned Gennard's Candy Company, they owned the Gennard Pirate Tavern.
Pirate Tavern?
Yes. I didn't know about that. It was on Tower Avenue, on the corner there, Belknap and Tower. But it was in that area. And they opened this tavern and Herb decorated the inside of the building for them. So I don't know if he painted a mural in there. There were no pictures, just found this ad in the telegram that they were having a grand opening. And he taught at the Superior Conservatory of Music, which was on North 16th.
Okay. Was he teaching art there or music?
No, they had an art department. It was run by whoever owned it. eventually opened up a music store in Superior, but they had all kinds of teachers, were teaching people how to play different instruments, were on the staff there. And then Herb was the art teacher.
Okay.
And it was in the home that had been owned by John Murphy, the first John T. Murphy, who owned the Telegram. He moved out and they bought it for this Conservatory of Music.
So he was teaching and he was also creating murals in buildings.
Yes, and he took his students around the Twin Ports to paint various sites.
Okay.
Took them out to Billings Park, and they also went and painted the old lighthouse, the really old lighthouse that's on Minnesota Point.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the people in his class, although they spelled her name wrong, I knew who it was Esther Bubley, the photographer from Superior. She was in one of Herb's painting classes.
Oh, wow.
And then he did a lot of painting. His job in life was as an itinerant painter. He was all over the country, and 2 of his paintings are still in the Lake McDonald Lodge in Glacier National Park.
Okay.
They're still in the building. But he painted from coast to coast, landscapes, practically anything. I read one time that he went out to Coney Island in New York, and he painted pictures of statues.
Okay.
But
on walls?
I don't know. He did sell his paintings, so he did a lot of paintings. The one he actually did one of the Minnesota, although it was a Wisconsin lighthouse, but it was on Minnesota property. He did a painting of that, and it was exhibited at the Superior Public Library for a while, but I don't know what ever happened to it.
Okay. So you got to see these paintings, and they were not in the best shape, right?
Oh, they're in terrible shape. I found out one of them because we had this photograph at the library of this house out in the woods someplace. And I remember going back to the library. I don't know, I was probably looking for something else, and I pulled it out and I thought, I've seen this someplace before. Turns out it's in the mural in the building that Jeff owns. We had this picture taken back probably in the 1930s after this place was built, because it was Mr. Nickel who owned the funeral parlor. It was his summer home on Lake St. Croix.
In Solon Springs.
Yes, so that's the one painting that's identifiable.
Okay.
Just because of that. The other ones, I don't know if Herb had something in mind, like, are they scenes out in Billings Park? There's the one with the windmill, which is not the Davidson windmill. As far as I can tell, it doesn't look like it. So I don't know if these were his imagination or if he was, in the backwoods someplace painting or finding these scenes and thinking, this would make a good scene for the murals.
And how many of them were there?
There are 5. They're on both the front. When you go down the stairs, there's the one above.
There's the one above. I don't think there's one on that one.
Okay.
So 5, I think.
Yeah.
I've seen them too. And I saw them when they were in bad shape.
Yeah.
And I know there were some artists who came in and looked at them, and they said that it was made with a special kind of paint.
Yeah, they had something that was made like
case paint or something.
Yeah, during that era.
Because it was the kind of paint that they used back then, because
it was the best for adhering, I suppose, to plaster too. And the thing about him is he painted like frames around each of these.
Really?
Yeah, when you look at them, they all look like they're framed paintings. And I would love to know how much Mr. Nickel paid him. There's no receipt for that I've found. And who got to choose the scenes? Was it Herb or Mr. Nickel? Maybe too busy burying people? I don't know. So he couldn't decide. And I'm just assuming that that's why he had him painted, because for that convention that was in Superior. I don't know if that's fact or not. And hopefully someday I'll turn that up. I have made contact with this teacher from Barron, Wisconsin, who actually brought their art club to Superior for a tour of the murals.
Really?
And then she came back a few weeks later and we started talking. And this was when I had gone to see the first time I'd seen the murals, and they're from Barron. And then I had found out that that's where Herb was from. So we've been kind of keeping touch. Like, she's looking for things down there, and, I'm still looking for things up here, but
that would match with those landscapes, huh? Yeah. But right now they're kind of mystery landscapes.
Right. And they're in a building that no one would suspect that they're in. It took me a heck of a long time
to research the building,
to find out who built it.
Oh.
And when. It was built in 1890 by a man named Willard Chandler. Okay. He was from Michigan. A lot of people from Michigan come to Wisconsin. And he had gone to the University of Michigan and was a school teacher, had taught, I think, for a year or so. But then I think he was a principal too. But then the strain got so much, so he came to Superior to regain his health.
Okay.
And he had been sickly. But first, before he came to Superior, he left the teaching profession and he became a drummer. And he traveled all over the country as a drummer. And then he came to Superior.
And became an architect.
No,
No,
he built it.
he
He
built
built
it.
it. He got into real estate, the real estate business. And so he had this building built in 1890.
And what was it originally?
He just built it.
Let's build it.
Yeah. The first business I can find that moved in there it's actually in the records I found in the telegram, it refers to it as a house. And we know it's not a house, but that's how it was referred to. $5,000 to build it.
Wow. That's it.
And it was, but that year in Superior, improvements and building and construction, $5 million spent in Superior in 1890.
Wow.
This was a booming place. But the first real business that I could find that moved in there were newspapers. And they changed their name all the time. Sometimes it was a Leader Clarion. Sometimes it was just the Clarion. Sometimes it was this. Sometimes it was that. But I can see why this was happening because the big dog had moved into town by 1890, and that was the Telegram. John Murphy started the Telegram in April of 1890. There are all kinds of newspapers, the Leader, the Superior Leader, the Wave, the Inland Ocean, all of these. And one by one, they disappeared because they really couldn't compete with what Murphy was putting out.
Mm-hmm.
But they stayed in that building under one name or another for about 10 years.
Okay.
And
it was a newspaper building for a decade.
Yeah. One of the mayors of Superior, Joseph Conkle, actually ran one of those newspapers. He was there.
Oh.
But sometimes he'd move the paper someplace else. It is such a convoluted history. And then after they move out, Clairvoyant moves in.
A clairvoyant?
Yeah.
Like someone who reads?
Yeah. There were a lot of interesting people. There was a cigar manufacturing company in that building.
Before or after the clairvoyant?
Maybe at the same time, I'm not sure. But then they had a fire, which is probably a hazard with the cigar company. They were there for years, but then Mr. Nickel came and he bought it and he used the entire building. I think he still had an apartment in it. I think there's still an apartment in there nowadays. And so his business, when he went out on his own after he left Lesage's, that was his business.
Okay. I don't know if I'd want an apartment over a mortuary.
I don't think I would either, but that's just me. He was very successful too. Really advertised a lot in both Duluth and Superior newspapers. I think he had a good little business going there. But I remember always admiring that building, but that's not what it looked like.
Back in the day, it didn't look the way it does
he
now.
He fancied it up a lot in 1930, and it has a twin.
Where?
1214 Ogden. It's at 1314. Has a twin down there. You can tell from the upper story because the bottom has been covered over with another material.
Okay, so if you want to see what it looked like in more of its original form.
Well, because they've covered up with the bottom floor, so it's not anywhere
but
near
both
close.
of those were of the same design.
Yep. And I don't know if the man who had this one built that one. I could not find any records on that so far. But yeah.
Okay. So we had a cigar factory, we had a clairvoyant, and then we had the funeral parlor. What happened after that, and why did it close down?
Well, Mr. Nickel died. His wife I think his wife and his sons ran the business maybe for a while. Both of his sons died rather young. So there was no one, I suppose, to carry on the business. And then there were a variety of businesses that moved in. Like I think AAA was in there for a while.
Okay.
And I also think Alcoholics Anonymous had rooms in there for a while. They were just, nobody ever stayed for a long time. And then Bergstrom came in the 60s.
Okay.
So
and that's what most of the folks in.
Yeah, right. Everybody, because they had a big neon sign out front.
Mm-hmm.
So most people would know that. And how often would anybody have gone in there, really, unless you had business to do with Bergstrom's, but other than that, it wasn't a walk in and out. But Ogden Avenue at one time was known as Gasoline Alley.
Why?
Because there were not only car dealers on the block, but there were people who, sold car parts or who fixed your cars or whatever. The whole run of Ogden was considered Gasoline Alley.
And then you have a funeral home in the
middle. And then you
have
have a funeral home. Yeah, so. But the Herb Bartlett thing, I don't think any of us ever expected that up there.
No, landscape paintings, murals on the walls.
Right. And then Jeff Dorfman was lucky enough to have the support of the Superior Arts Committee to fund a part of it. So he hired Bill Getty. Bill Getty, if you need a painting restored.
He's the guy.
Oh, he is an amazing guy. And he did the Jaworski murals at the library.
Right. He helped restore
them. And the thing about Bill is you don't know, like in the Jaworski paintings, you don't know where Tony ended and Bill started, because you really can't tell he's that good. And
Well, he was a student of yours.
yes, and then a friend of Tony's for many, many years, so he knew how Tony painted. And have you seen the murals since they've been?
No, I haven't. Have you?
I have.
How do they look now?
I was blown away when I went up there, because Bill texted me one day. He said, "I'm done. Do you want to come up and see it?" He said, "I'm packing up and I'm going to go. Do you want to come over and see them?" Of course, I jumped at that chance. You won't believe them when you see them, Maria. You can't even believe they're the same paintings. They look, I would say they probably look as good or better than the day that they were unveiled for Mr. Nickel by Herb. Just, he's a genius. Wow, it is so beautiful. Everybody should stop and look at those and buy something and go.
Right. Well, the beautiful part is it's in Outdoor North now.
Yeah.
It's open to the public. They
Right.
can come in and just, take
Go
a look. There's
upstairs.
bikes in that
Yeah.
showroom, right? It's become a bike
Yeah.
showroom and a place to
Yeah.
look at these beautiful murals.
And when you consider what kind of shape they were in when we first saw them, I mean, there were cracks in the plaster, the paint was flaking off. And Bill did this in a relatively short time, but he really knows what he's doing and what kind of paints he could use. And he never wants to overpower the painting.
Right.
He wants it to look like the painter did these, improvements to it. So unbelievable. Everybody should stop in, and maybe somebody will know what those other scenes are of.
Oh.
Because they've got me flummoxed, except for Mr. Nichols' cottage, but that's about it.
Right. And the windmill definitely is not
I
the
don't,
Davidson windmill.
but maybe if a Davidson windmill expert, and I know there are some of them out there, maybe they're listening, should stop in and see, but I don't believe it is. At least it's not. Of course, they moved the windmill, didn't they, to that site? I'm not sure.
The
old Brule,
yeah,
old Brule did that.
Yeah, they moved it up the hill, but it's always been there.
Yeah, it doesn't look the same to me. But as I said, I'm not a Davidson windmill expert.
Right. And then there's one of a path, a road.
Yeah.
And yes, people should stop by.
Yeah.
We need to figure out.
We do need to figure out. It would be really nice unless, one day everything magically appears. But Herb, he left Superior. He traveled down south and did some painting down there. He did some painting in the Carolinas. But then he went back to Barron. He said, I read one interview with him, and he said he was the first child born in Chippewa. And I don't know if he meant Chippewa Falls or if Chippewa Falls was just called Chippewa then, or if he meant Chippewa County. But his family had been in Barron, Wisconsin, so he moved back. He and his first wife were divorced, and he had married again, so he moved back. And there's actually on the Find a Grave site, there's a little bit about him. And he had a little house there, and he apparently painted murals inside the house.
Really?
Yeah.
I wonder if they're still there.
I don't know. I would love to find out. I have a good friend who lives down there, and we always say, we're going to go on a history jaunt and go to Barron and look for sites of Herb, if Herb has anything down there. But
was it usual back in the day to be an itinerant?
I don't know. I think Herb from the beginning had wanderlust. I really do. And he had, he was married to his first wife, and they had 2 children. So, and I believe when he came to Superior, his son came as his assistant. We have another mystery picture at the library. It's of a painter and there's another young man standing next to him, and it's a huge, huge canvas. I mean, room-size canvas, and Herb is painting. And when I first saw it, I thought, well, I can't say for sure this is him. But after seeing a couple pictures of him in the newspaper, I know for sure that guy who's painting is Herb. I have no doubt whatsoever, and I believe that's his son. Although there's nothing written on the back of the picture, of course. So I don't know if it appeared in the Telegram at one time, but I think it was taken by, there's a photographer, I can't remember his name right now, Greenfield.
Okay.
And he had a lot of his pictures in the Telegram. So I wonder if he had some kind of contract with the Telegram, but I've never run across this one.
But if anyone sees it, let you know, huh?
Yes. Herb has a cap on. He's got a long, white smock on. And his son, they both look, their bodies look the same, sort of tall and lanky. He's in the picture too. So I would love to know the story behind that and where that painting turned up.
Right.
If it is any place in existence. So if anybody's listening that has a Herb Bartlett painting, please let us know. We'd love to know. I'd love to know where that one of the lighthouse ended up. And he did a lot of shows in Duluth, too, with the art group in Duluth, where they probably sold his paintings, too. So
Probably. So there might be a lot more of them floating around.
I know.
See, every time you research, there's more questions.
There's never a final answer to anything.
It's always about the research.
Right. Turn the next page there. You'll find another thing about it. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But folks should stop by and take a look at those beautiful paintings.
You should, Maria. Just go. You've got to go see those finished paintings.
They were rough when I first saw
You will not believe that they're the same paintings. I mean, Bill is a genius. I'm saying this. Bill Getty, you're a genius. And a true artist. Oh, my gosh.
Wonderful. I'm just glad they were able to keep that. I mean,
I know.
someone else might have said, well, we're just going to paint over it. It's done.
The stars aligned. Jeff bought it, the building. He had an appreciation for that. Other people would have just painted over them. What are these old things? They look pretty terrible. Put on a coat of white paint.
Right.
But he saw that.
And the city supported it.
Yes.
And he had Bill to do the work.
He had Bill. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if anyone out there has a mural they want touched up, probably making more work for Bill.
Probably are. We better stop there.
Yeah, stop while we're ahead. Yeah.
Thank you, Teddy.
You're welcome.
And thank you for listening to Archive Dive. New episodes are available monthly at superiortelegram.com or wherever you listen to podcasts. If you have a topic you'd like us to explore, email me at mlockwood@superiortelegram.com.